This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have a couple of good neighbors with us, and that is Liz and Jason of the Organic Moment Photo and Video. How are you two doing today?
Very
We're
good,
doing
Sean.
good, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
How are you?
I am doing great as well. Got some kind of special things happening in my life on the personal side. We're looking to move. So things are kind of shaking and moving and grooving. We ended up finding a home that's about a 5-minute walk from where my parents live in Midhurst.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully I don't date myself in this podcast if I don't get the house, but we're working hard to make it happen. And that's been consuming my life for like the last 2 months. So that's what's new on my side of the fence.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
That's
Congrats
so
on that news.
great.
We
Yeah.
love the fall time up in that area and the leaves that
It's gorgeous.
occur around Midhurst, Muskoka. So
Mhm.
that's very exciting.
Mhm.
Because right now you're out in Barrie, right? Downtown or?
Yeah, we're just right now we're like northwest, like on the top of the hill there. So it's really, you're going to the same area to do your shopping. Nothing's really changing, just a bit of a different layout for the future for our family and things like that, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
And congrats on getting married recently.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit about that in the show, but I'm sure the audience right now is like, Sean, we know like everything about you, like I know about Liz and Jason. So why don't we dive right into it? And why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about your business?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Great. Well, I'm Liz, Jason.
Hey, I'm Jason.
And we're a photo video husband wifey duo, and we capture elopements out in the mountains of Banff and in Ontario and Iceland. We travel globally, but those are the areas we currently specialize in, and we're looking to also expand to Costa Rica. And we're not just a photo video team. We also help our couples in the planning process with permits, where to go, itinerary planning, and all of that stuff. So I like to say we take on the stress for our couples so they can just chill and have like an amazing adventure and have their best epic day ever. And we just tell them what to do and what to book and make it easy peasy for them.
A little bit of kind of travel agent happening as a part of the process.
We actually work with a travel agent too. So we're kind of like a one-stop shop. Yeah.
That's very unique, being able to take the workload off of somebody when they're looking to do something special. I think that's pretty cool. Now, okay, let's talk about if somebody doesn't know what an elopement is, how would we explain that to our listeners if somebody's maybe curious right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Elopements used to be seen as very quick, Las Vegas kind of style, like 10-minute ceremony. And it's really evolved over the years into something so much deeper and meaningful and really a way that you can still celebrate an entire day and celebrate yourselves as a couple and like make your own traditions and just do all of really I think it's like your best date day ever. So you take all your favorite things and you're like, I want to do this for my elopement day. And that's kind of what an elopement has become. And it's really cool because it's really moving away from the obligatory nature of the big wedding that is for everyone else and really brings it back to the couple and their own values and their own dreams and the way that they want to celebrate in an intimate way. Do you have a...
Yeah, and I feel like we noticed a shift and a change in the wedding industry since COVID happened and how it affected everyone. And with that came, I feel, intention and couples doing things with intention and with intention of how they want to spend their money. We've also noticed folks kind of go outside of that traditional checkmark steps. So some folks, they're with their partners, they're already buying their house. Maybe they've already had a kid. And then they're looking at the investment in their wedding a little differently than a traditional large-scale wedding. We find our couples are folks who love the adventure, love just being with each other and being present with each other, and then coming across the idea of adventure elopements and feeling like, oh yeah, that's totally us, that's them. They want to be out on a mountaintop, they want to be out by a waterfall, they want to do things that is a new tradition for them and the family that they're creating, and trying to go and operate in a way that's a bit more intentional with how much money they want to spend on their elopement day, and if they want to include that to be like an elopement / honeymoon, and we kind of just cheer them up and dream with them and get them to find and get that perfect elopement, in whatever destination they choose.
Oh, very cool. Is there there might be some people that might not be overly familiar with, how things have evolved over the times and the word elopement. So I'm happy we got to explain that a little bit more in detail. Are there group sizes? Is this typically just a couple that are going out for this? Or are they bringing people along to kind of share that experience with them? What do you typically see out there when people are going to these amazing places, whether it's here in our own province or out in the mountains or out in Iceland, maybe soon to Costa Rica? Are they bringing people with them to share that experience? What are you typically seeing?
Yeah, so it really depends on the couple. And that's another reason why elopements are so cool, because you can design them however you want. So we have couples that they decide to bring one person each. So there'll be 4 of them, or they'll bring 10 family members, or they'll do video calls on the day with their family members that are in different places. So there's like all these different cool ways to incorporate your loved ones if you so choose. And I love that about it, because it just really, it's like our folks that elope, they really choose those very close connections to come with them. The people that, if they do choose to bring people, those family and friends are just so close and dear to them. So there's just this element of intimacy that's really special for them. Yeah.
And I would say, like, for us in our packages, like we will operate with up to 20 guests max. Once we get over like a 20-person guest count, then it gets into being a bit more of like an intimate wedding than an elopement.
That becomes more of a wedding. So we'd bring a planner on board in that case. But most of our couples bring about an average of 8 people.
Very cool.
Also sometimes the location dictates the amount of folks that they can have attend, because a lot of the times in the national parks, there's like a max capacity to occupy a certain space on the trail. And we also like to follow leave no trace. So we like to listen to the guidelines that the parks give out and each park is different.
And educate our couples.
And then educate our couples on how to operate within the park.
Yeah. And I would say too, it completely depends too on the adventure the couple wants. So say they want privacy and they don't want to hike too far, which is like totally our vibe. We're not like massive hikers. We want to get to a really cool place pretty quickly and not be like crazy sweating. So if we have a bit more chill, if we have a helicopter elopement, typically people won't bring 10 people up. You can, but someone could choose, I want to do a sunrise ceremony in a helicopter, private mountaintop, and then we have a really intimate dinner with our 10 guests. And, maybe we do an ATV adventure ride all together. So there's just so many ways that you can customize and design your day to have time with just the 2 of you and have time with your guests, or have the whole day with your guests. So it's really neat in that way.
My wheels are spinning. I'm sure some people are. I mean, like, I just got married too, and I'm like, helicopter ride, private mountain sunrise. I want to do that. That's a good idea.
Let's go, Sean. We'll do a second wedding.
A vow renewal.
A vow renewal.
Oh yeah. That's
10-year
definitely in the
anniversary.
works. Well, you obviously my wife Julie, and she's a fan of the show. She's listened to the majority of the episodes, so I'm sure she'll probably get around to this episode at one point, and then all of a sudden I'm in trouble now because now she knows. Okay, I got another question for you before we move on to the next phase of the show. But why Banff? Like, why Iceland? Why soon to potentially be Costa Rica? What's the thought process that goes into this, and why are those destinations kind of your mainstays?
Yeah, we really sat with each other when we were deciding which destinations we wanted to specialize in. And we love the mountains. We love epic landscapes. Eco-friendly values are really important to us as well. So we kind of melded all those together to find areas in the world that were like, this is where we want to be going. And these are the values that align with us, as well as inclusivity. That played a role in picking these destinations. But also just really from like a heart-centered place, like, where do we want to be? Where do we want to hang out? What do we want to wake up and see? And exactly. We were like, mountains, glaciers, waterfalls,
forest,
rainforest, lava rock,
black sand beaches.
So, yeah. So that's kind of how we landed on those three places. Yeah.
And we also find, like, when couples are eloping, they are usually after that epic view. Like, what they really want is that memory of not just them becoming one and like finding that union of love with each other, but also doing it in a landscape that's so magical, mystical, adventurous, that's outside of their regular surroundings. And in saying that, like, we do also do Ontario here, and we do love the like subtlety and beauty that Ontario gives, like the lakes and really we're here in the fall time.
The fall is our favorite
for Ontario, because it's our favorite. So those colors, the lakes, like, it's a special thing here for Ontarians, because in these other places we traveled, swimming in lakes is not as common. The water's super cold, being glacier fed. In
Costa Rica, you can swim.
But in Costa Rica, when we get there, you can swim.
We just found it's not as popular in Ontario yet. So I think Ontario is catching up to the elopement side of things. And we definitely want to be here and be all for that when that kind of grows and continues to expand, for sure, because we have beautiful places in Ontario that are really underrated. We have beautiful, like, rolling, like, small mountains in northern Ontario, gorgeous lakes, beautiful forests. The fall colors are insane, stunning lookouts. Like, we just did an Algonquin Booth's Rock elopement, and just the colors were just crazy beautiful. So Ontario is also really beautiful, and I think underrated as well.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey. It's always fun to hear not just about the business, but about the people who run their business and their backstories, one of the main components to the show. So tell us a little bit about your journey leading up to the Organic Moment photo and video.
Okay. I'll let you start, Liz. Does this also include, like, our love story and how we met, or just strictly like
just like our
career? Because we've kind of melded together.
It's however you want to tell your story. It's your story to be told.
Yeah, good answer. Okay. So I started taking pictures when I was 16, while I was camping in Ontario backcountry. I love camping and I love the forest and lakes, and I just started taking photos of the land and of flowers, and I love National Geographic. It's my favorite magazine to this day. I have a crazy collection.
She does.
And that was my beginning. And then I rolled with it. I went to photo school, and then I just, after photo school, I really explored So I started in the music industry, the theater industry, and the film industry. I also am a huge music lover and film buff. So I wanted to try out those industries and see what they were like. And I had a fun time all through my 20s, being on set and doing marketing photos and being in the pit at music shows. And I photographed like Florence and the Machine, who's one of my favorite artists. And I've been so fortunate to photograph so many cool artists. I did a lot of like indie rock music photos. And yeah, I did that for a long time. And in the film industry, that's where we met. And Jason was in set design. And a friendship began from there. I'll just kind of pause on that and I'll get you to take that part over. I'm just going to pivot to, so after going through that industry, I've always loved love. And
you really have.
I really have.
You're like a diehard romantic.
Yeah. I am. That's true. I love a good romance movie, romance TV. This Is Us shout out. And so I always had my toe in the wedding industry. I would do weddings here and there on the weekends while I was doing like music and film and all of that. And I was photographing for studios, for wedding studios in Toronto, for years and for independents. And I got to a point where I was like, I want to build my own business. And what is that? What is that going to look like? And so that's kind of how that transition to elopements began, because I loved weddings, but after doing them for over 10 years, I wanted to pivot, and I just wanted to be outside more, be in nature more, wanted to travel. And so I just integrated that into my business, and I found elopements and that business model. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. And I tried it. And I just fell in love. I just couldn't get over it. I'm like, I want to prance around on trails with couples all the time. Let's do this always.
Tell love stories.
Yeah.
So for me, I too started at a young age, like being an artist in public school, elementary, and then finding film as a medium in high school, and then starting to make films with my twin. For like all projects, anything I could do that would involve telling a story visually with a film cassette. And back then it was like mini DV tapes and little Sony handheld camcorders. Just diving into that world, and then finding and discovering that there's an industry in Toronto that I could go into and then start working in. That led me to going to school for film, majoring in directing and production design, and then meeting Liz in our thesis year because we needed a stills photographer for our marketing materials on our student films. And Liz popped up, and she was our ride to the set. And I think I fell in love with you like the moment I met you. Pretty sure I did. We were in a car, and she was driving us up to set, and I was like, who's this awesome human? He loves Florence and the Machine just as much as I do.
Florence and the Machine was actually playing when he like opened my cart. That's just funny that I said that earlier, but yeah.
And
that's funny.
Like, because we were obsessed with that at the time, so it's like playing in the background, and I'm like, who's this really cool chick? She's got great taste in music, and her like smile is infectious, and she's just like a sweet human who loves love. And I'm like a horror movie fan, diehard horror, maybe not so much into romance. And then meeting Liz, finding a softer side to myself of like, okay, romance movies are cool, love stories are cool. But yeah, getting then into working into the industry. So then I went into the Directors Guild in the art department as a set designer, and then working on TV shows and feature films. So things like The Handmaid's Tale, American Gods, Chucky, and I just finished Interview with a Vampire. doing all these things and doing the film industry in Toronto for over 12 years, I was starting to see Liz starting this company and doing these adventure elopements and spending all of her time out in nature, and finding myself being quite jealous, being quite envious that she gets to spend her time out in like mountains and waterfalls. And I'm designing behind a desk for like 60 to 70 hours working the film grind. And she then was like, hey, Jay, I'm in this. I'm noticing that there's packages or fewer packages that people offer that include video. Would you want to hop on board and be like my videographer and my team duo? So then we can offer just like a more tangible capturing of memories in her packages. And for me, it wasn't really that of a hard sell because I really wanted to go to Iceland and go to Banff and not have to work so intensely in the film industry. And now get to do like this new thing in our lives where we become entrepreneurs and kind of take control into our own time and our own schedules, and then finding it really rewarding working in this like smaller like a personal scale of storytelling where now I get to tell love stories, I get to meet couples, I get to hear their love stories, and then we get to go out in these epic locations with these couples and figure out like the fun creative ways of getting their love story to come across on camera and on photo. And it's been a whirlwind and a fun adventure, and she's the genius who came up with it and found the model and found others that were doing it, and then the one to dare to dream. And then I was just right there like supporting her and then diving in myself and being like, yeah, hey, I could change what I do and I can hop on board and be an adventure elopement videographer.
Amazing story. Thank you very much for sharing. I definitely enjoyed that. I know others will as well too. And it's a pretty cool thing. You hear that word mom and pop shop, right? That word's been used for a long time now. I think it's pretty cool that somebody can have something special that's done, but it's also being shared by them from two couples who, have that love, that are able to portray that and have that, which you get to in turn then share with the couples, because that's going on, whether it's new in their adventure or they're just doing it again. They obviously have that romance that's a part of that, and being able to just, share that with them, and for them to share that with you, I think that's a pretty attractive selling feature.
Yeah, definitely. And we get a lot of feedback from, I think, everyone that we work with, where they're like, you guys all feel like old friends. We don't, like, for being a team, like, they're like, we love watching your love. We like the synergy of this like husband-wife duo. They see how much care and compassion we put in with each other and our work for them. And then we create these spaces where we're left with like long-lasting friendships with couples from around the world that we get to meet and tell their love stories. So,
especially because like we could be the only guests for someone
sometimes
at their elopement.
We're their witness.
We're their witnesses
they're
a lot of the
cheerleader.
time. And we're their cheerleader. Yeah. And as we mentioned, we are inclusive. And so we do get folks from the LGBTQ community that, really need that support and need those cheerleaders and rooting for them, celebrating them, like, guiding their experience to be amazing. So we take that like really, it's a really big sense of honor to be entrusted with people's love stories. And they're big.
I know that was a part of your business. I was waiting for the right opportunity to open that conversation up, and you just gave me the front door and swung it wide open. So we have a platform. We're all about being inclusive and having acceptance across the board. I was just watching an episode of Survivor yesterday. Julie watched it when she was younger, and so did I. And then together as a couple, that's our show. And so we binge watched from season 42 or 3 up to 48, and then Amazon opened up all the rest of them, and then we're like, holy! So we went back to 26, and we're at the 38 or something, and the one we just watched was Game Changers, and there was an unfortunate incident that happened at a tribal council where actually one of our favorite players, his name is Zeke, and he got ousted by another player, which is very wrong of him to do that. That he didn't share with other people that he was transgender, and so we finished the show, and they had their reunion show, and we usually don't watch the reunion show, but we really wanted to see how everything played out, and just an overwhelmingly amount of positive things came from that. But it also teaches you things of it could be very difficult for somebody in that space, not just someone who's trans, but across the board, because the world is not fully there yet. And so I wanted to open up that discussion for you to maybe elaborate on it a little bit more, because if there is somebody from that community that's potentially listening to the show, I want to make sure that we're able to speak to them directly to add that level of comfort and say that hey, there's a spot out there for you as well, and make sure that that's known across the board, to educate other people as well too, that inclusion is a very important thing, and we need to start changing our minds and being a lot more open. Everybody is a human being, and they need to be treated that way.
100%. Yeah, thank you for asking that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important.
I mean, it's 2025, 2026. It's unfortunate that not many or not most can get there, and that there's still that trouble, that aggression towards a community who's just existing and
just wants to live their life.
Wants to live. Yeah. And for us, we're here to celebrate them, celebrate who they are as they exist, and then celebrate their love and their kind of love in the way that is them.
And what that means from like a wedding and elopement perspective is, one, working on changing industry standards and educating other vendors. So having conversations with, we're part of business groups that we exchange ideas with and talk about the industry together. Actually working together with other industries and educating is a huge part. Something like making sure your contact form, making sure your contracts all have inclusive language, all the way to ensuring every vendor you work with is vetted and also inclusive, so that the couple has a seamless process all the way through and feels celebrated all the way through from each person we recommend to them. So there's a very, we're always learning and growing. And those are some of the ways that we work on being inclusive and really ensuring a great experience for couples.
Yeah. We want everyone who comes through the process knowing that their love was celebrated all the way through, and that we did our due diligence to work with folks and source out folks who are also going to celebrate them and their love. And that can come from your florist or the officiant or your hair and makeup team, whoever it is. We just only work with folks who are like-minded, who understand and can get behind a progressive mindset of all love is welcome and all love is natural and all folks should be celebrated.
Yeah, and we also try to work as well with queer vendors, other queer vendors, and just really expand, in any way we can.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I'm glad we got an opportunity to be able to talk about that. Okay, so tell us any myths, any misconceptions that are out there when it comes to elopements. Information is power, and you don't know what you don't know. So we often like to give the floor to talk about this, because if you were mistold something, or if you just don't know, then you formulate your own opinions, and sometimes those opinions aren't warranted. So any myths, any misconceptions that you hear from people when it comes to elopements?
Yes, tons.
Yeah.
And I love the question.
One of them is it's quick and it means less. That's a big myth. We talked about that a little bit earlier when you asked the definition of elopements and what that means, but really expanding on that old idea that an elopement is like a quick runaway. And
which it's not.
Which it doesn't have to be.
doesn't
If
have
it's
to
that's
be.
for you, that's for you. And that's cool. But I think it's really a disservice for couples to do the shotgun wedding and not have an entire day that's special for them. I think it's really undervaluing their love story and their fun for an epic day, you know? Like it's an expansion, and seeing elopements as like an expansion instead of this quick moment.
Another myth that comes across for us, because part of our value is being sustainable and working in like an eco-friendly manner. Some folks might see that as that means it's a lower quality or less quality of a product, but we find it's it's quite the opposite. Like, we like to do things that honor and help out our planet, but that doesn't mean you have to be frivolous. It doesn't mean that we can't, you know, create those spaces and create that high quality experience, while also being mindful of like what choice things are we going to actually incorporate, purchase, consume through the process of the wedding or from the elopement.
Yeah, it's so true, because like that idea that all elopements are eco-friendly isn't always true. There are folks that don't follow Leave No Trace, vendors that don't follow Leave No Trace, and there are so many ways. Like, for a good example I like to use is in Banff at Moraine Lake. The park does not allow you to go off of the rock pile trail and does not advise that. And a lot of photographers will take people and scale down those rocks. So one, it's dangerous for them and the couple because those rocks could move at any time. And two, the vegetation and like fauna is very delicate. Flora is very delicate there, and they want to regrow it. So they ask you purposely not to go on that side of the trail. So, you know, sometimes we can see an epic elopement photo, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was taken with Leave No Trace in mind. And Leave No Trace is a set of guidelines, 7 principles to keep the earth really better than we found it, and really
we clearly haven't been doing a good job at that as of late. So I think just respecting, you know, where we are, what we're doing, you know, not leaving garbage behind, and, you know, respecting the native plants, the animals that live there. You know, we've harvested a lot of the land. You know, you take a look at the Amazon forest. I mean, I can go down this rabbit hole for days on, you know, some of the things that we're doing wrong as humans, just generally speaking, across the globe. So having a little bit of respect and a little bit of mindful that, you know, we're not damaging or disturbing things that shouldn't be damaged, so that, you know, the next generation of people can have it better than we had it, because we're not going in the right direction presently at the moment. So
exactly.
There you go. All right, let's talk about what you like to do for fun. You talked a little bit about it. We always like to hear from our business owners what they like to do for fun outside of work, because business owners work a lot. So when you're working on the business, then you're working in the business. It's unique in your nature for what you do, because you do get to travel for work. You do get to share fun and awesome experiences. And you already spoke about loving photography and loving being in nature. But outside of that, what do you two like to do for fun?
Shall I be? Sure. Well, we found earlier on in our 20s that there was a needed balance from the hustle and bustle of work, of running things and like being tied up in the work hours. So early on, we kind of started into wellness hobbies. So we love yoga, we love meditation. When we were traveling back in our 20s, we went and got our yoga teacher training certificate. So I like to when not being busy in a creative mode, I like to put on my wellness hat and either host a class or do some sound baths or do some massage for some clients, and switch that motor of go, 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 be an artist, be a filmmaker, tell the story, to slow down, be present, and hold space for folks, or just have fun. Like Liz and I can do our own wellness retreat for ourselves and just take a day or two to decompress and fill it with all the goodies that you would have in a retreat. While also, we also always incorporate nature into what we do. So getting outside, going for like deep dives into sitting and just being and watching nature pass by.
Watching leaves fall is a great pastime that we participate in a lot.
And then in those spaces, we find it's like our downtime. So it allows our like nervous system to rest. And then it creates like more dreams, more goals, the ability to reflect on some things that are happening in the business mindset, and then tackling it the next day with like more rest, more like vigor for life, because we've had that balance, that that fun time. And then I don't know, we usually break out into song or dance every other day, just in our mundane. Just to set things up.
We love to lip sync.
We love lip syncing.
Who's the shower singer?
Both of us.
Oh, nice.
Definitely
both of us. Yeah.
We're kind of perfect for each other in that way, where if I hear her singing, if I know the song, I'll come into the bathroom and like help duet it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We picked like a really good track, and and then we love music. We love like horror movies. We love going to see movies still. We've ingested a lot of film in our life, but I think that speaks
we have a huge
to the
VHS collection too.
We just love storytelling, and we love immersing ourselves in how the world storytells, and watching films and then being inspired by them on how do we create that for us on like the micro scale, because obviously we don't operate on giant 500 plus crew. We're just the two of us, so it's a smaller scale, but it's always fun to be like, how could we create this vibe, let's say Pride and Prejudice, and how do we do that like on a smaller scale?
I love that. We also love like really good food.
Yes, we do love food.
We're vegan vegetarians, so we love to cook and explore and taco nights, pasta nights.
We also
all kinds of
we
food.
Love
Thai
South
food.
Asian food.
Southeast Asian food is delish.
So I last three nights we've as a family eaten completely vegan vegetarian. Like my girls are vegan vegetarian for health reasons, and just some food and some meat just doesn't agree with the body, and there's all the longevity stuff that I think people are starting to really figure out now, especially with the way that the world produces their food, especially when it comes to meat, what they're being fed, and then all of the other stuff that gets into the produce. So I'm a big fan of buying local from the local farms, and then being very, very, very paying attention to what's in the meat and where you're getting the meat from and all that good stuff. So I do still eat meat, but the girls are just mainly, they'll eat fish, and the rest is vegan vegetarian. So for those who are maybe looking to explore this path, or are looking for another dish, so I'm going to share with you purple sweet potatoes are very, very, very good. They're cancer preventing. They actually turn the genome off. That is the genome that recognizes disease in the body. I'm probably not saying it right, but anyways, for those who don't believe me, go take a look, use chat, whatever, Gemini. Go look into purple sweet potatoes, the antioxidants that are in it. It's incredible. So Julie was doing the groceries the other day, and she found purple sweet potato noodles at the Centra here in Barrie. And then in addition to that, she found, I don't know if it was Walmart or if it was at Centra, but it was a whole bag of soy chunks. It's like $5 for the bag. And so, they cooked it in a Thai sauce or an Asian sauce. we did the noodles, and then we had, you know, our favorite veggie in there. We did a stir fry.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, they are good.
It was like I was eating chicken. It was incredible. And then we did purple sweet potatoes again. This is, I mean, the purple sweet potato, once you know about it, it's like, hey, you're incorporating this at least 3 times a week. You only need it twice a week, but it's really yummy. And then we made a homemade vegan chili. And the Impossible beef, from a guy who likes beef, I'm putting my hand up. You know, I'm going to say, love my steak, love all that stuff. But you can't tell the difference between Impossible beef, and it's a super high in protein, super good for you. So yeah, we baked the sweet potato, cut it open, little vegan butter in there, and which tastes just like butter. For those who, you know, what's the difference? There is no difference other than the hormones and all the bad stuff that comes with butter. But yeah, and then the vegan chili on top, and you know, then we put a little vegan sour cream on there, put a little vegan cheese on there, a little salt and pepper, like incredible. I ate the whole thing. So good, so healthy. So I just had to say a little something on that because I'm a big fan of the health benefits that come along with that. And the girls are just really good cooks. They're really, really good cooks. So I'm a cook as well. Like we all cook. I'm foodies like you too. So you definitely relate to that. But yeah, those are the last 2 amazing dishes I just had this week. You're talking about, you know, vegan, vegetarian, and I'm like, I gotta say something because my life this week has been awesome in the kitchen. And all vegan, vegetarian is pretty cool.
That's so cool. I love that.
That's awesome.
I love
Sean.
that so much.
I love hearing that you like shopping local.
Yes.
We too like to do local, and to speak about another good neighbor,
Eat Impact.
Eat Impact
in Barrie.
In Barrie
is where we get our produce. Yeah.
The Impact, where are they located?
Eat Impact. They're on Bryn
Drive.
Bryan Drive, sorry. They're on Bryan Drive. And they take all the odd, misshapen vegetables, produce, foods that the grocery stores won't take and don't sell, and they sell it, and they box it up and send it to your house. So it's an amazing company that's mitigating food waste. And you get some super cool vegetables that look really fun.
Just all local stuff. Like, since we're on the topic of locals, it's all local.
Local
farmers from around the area, and then they work with Valiance as well, which is a big kind of vegan pantry shop, and
also local meat.
And local meat and
farmers as well. So like for those who do eat meat, they
caters to all dietary.
Caters to every dietary preference, really. Yeah.
We might have to have you guys nominate them, get them on the show. I'd be curious to have a conversation with them. Very cool. I'm going to go check it out. There you go. Okay. So in life, we pick our path, we walk that path, we make choices, cause and effect. Things happen in our life. Sometimes they're not by choice. Life gets in the way. It throws obstacles at you. Life is not perfect. It's very difficult. And sometimes they're obstacles we have to overcome. Sometimes they're from a choice. Sometimes it's something completely out of our control. Tragedies happen. Some people experience hardships more often than others do. And everybody has a unique story. But with that being said, even though sometimes tough things happen or bad things happen to us, you know, life moves on. We have to move forward with it. The human evolution, we can go down the rabbit hole on that. But it's all about when we have tough things happen to us, like how do we overcome these? You know, it's mindset's a big part of that. You know, do you see the glass half full? Do you see it half empty? And then are there things that we can learn from that? You know, was it a failure? Did I fall forward? You know, can I learn? Can I become better? Can I level up? You know, all of these things factor into what happens when we run into these specific and unique scenarios that happen to people every single day. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever experienced a hardship, a life challenge that may have happened to you? Were you able to overcome it? How did you do that? Were there any silver linings? Did you learn anything from that?
I was going to say, who wants to go first? I feel like we all go through this at some point in our life. to point out like a specific hardship moment, I've been fortunate. There hasn't been like a specific event, but in saying that, I feel like, and a lot of folks are in the same way, like we become our own blocks. Our mental health becomes our own struggle. And for me as an artist and as a filmmaker, the challenge was always to be my own cheerleader and be my own supporter for the things I've wanted to do in life. So, being young and hearing, oh, Jason, you're deciding to go into film, that's a really maybe hard or tough industry to get into. I don't know how successful that might be for you. And then being within myself saying, no, but it's what I want. And if I put the time and the energy and the effort in, I can create this to be a reality. So throughout my career, there's always been that kind of mindset in the back of my head of like, can you be doing this? Should you be doing this? Is this the best like use of your time? Will you make it? Will you be successful? And then going through that road and journey of building up your confidence, being self-disciplined and driven to those ambitions, not letting what others are saying about the industry that you want to go into or about the dreams that you want to have, and just kind of unapologetically diving in and doing what you feel is going to get you to that next point or that next step in your journey. And I witnessed that for myself in my early 20s, getting out of school, deciding like I'm not going to do anything but film work. So then knowing how to budget my time and to be in the fluctuating finances that it is in the beginning once you leave film school and then you want to get into films, but nobody knows who you are at that time. And then sticking through it and putting in the hours. And then that just led me to more opportunity, to more connections, to more networks, to then working up the ladder, to then working on the top tiered shows in the city and having that reputation after years of doing it. And then always coming back to myself with you've got this, people like what you do, you are good at your job, you have a gift and you have something to share with the world. And then I find it even kind of translated into then this new venture that we're doing. We talk to a lot of folks about adventure elopements and half the folks don't even know what it is we're talking about or what we do. So being that force, that person in this world that's like, you can live out your dreams. Liz and I dream of capturing love stories and epic landscapes, and adventure elopements is where it's at for us. And we constantly have highs and lows because I think that's just life. Like, we'll some days be really cheerleading ourselves and other days we feel like nothing is working and we have to pick ourselves back up and remind ourselves why we're doing what we're doing. And just again, daring to be outside of the box and be like, we can create a sustainable life that's stable and whatnot, with all this like beautiful flow that is fluctuating elopements and the ever-changing landscape of where we're going to be traveling to and where we're going to be living.
Jason, that's very eloquently and beautifully said. I think that no matter who you are or where you are in life, whether you work 9 to 5, if you work shift work, if you work a part-time job, or if you're a business owner, I think everybody can take a little bit of what you just said. That was brilliant.
Yeah, well, happy to share. It kind of just rolled.
Rolled pretty good, man. Nice job. I was like, holy shit, that's really good. I'm even thinking of some stuff. I'm like, yeah, I need that too.
Yeah.
Very cool. What about you, Liz?
I would say being in my own way and self-doubt is probably one of the biggest roadblocks for me. I've really had to learn, I've going down a journey of, from therapy to mindset coaching to business coaching. I've really looked for resources to really help navigate my mind and how to really reveal my limiting beliefs and what's holding me back, and then learning how to process emotions and like feel emotions all the way through instead of suppressing them, and then creating new thoughts and connecting to my goals, connecting to my dreams. So having that self-doubt throughout my life really brought me to that work and to really connect deeper to myself and really just also I do have ADHD that I found out recently. So that also painted a picture for my life and just different roadblocks that have come up. And so now I'm learning tools about ADHD and how to navigate that. So I'm always learning and working on mindset daily. And that's really changed my whole life.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. When I was younger, I don't think I've ever said this on the show, so I'll share as well. Until I was, 26, 27, 28, 29, somewhere in there, I had to start navigating a little bit more in life. And I've been successful at every turn in my life. COVID, I fell right after COVID. I did a deep dive, lost 9 years of working super hard. I had to leave where I was. It just wasn't working out anymore. And then you work so hard to have nothing and then work your way up from that. But prior to that was just having overconfidence and being really successful at sports, being a popular kid. So I was very cocky. And I didn't learn humility until late in my 20s. And I was bullied a lot in elementary school, into high school. I had to earn my own keep for some of that stuff. I don't know if that played a part in anything, but just learning over time how to take the humility route, how human beings value that humility. And I never had anybody just being able to isolate any particular scenario. So I really, really had to figure it out on my own. And that took a really long time to be able to do that until I finally started seeing some examples and meeting other good human beings and learning from them on how they take their approach to interacting with others. And I think that's done me very well. And then especially from losing everything that you've worked for your whole life and having nothing and then having to claw your way back from the depths adds a little bit more to that as well too. So I think that's been one thing for me on my side of the fence that has been hard or was hard for me earlier in my life that had to overcame, and then being able to take those lessons and try to turn that into a positive.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really great.
It sounds like you're right on track with everyone else. Yeah. The twins. Having that ego death, right? And then also going through what you could say is like really hard times for the first moment in your life, and then having that reflection of how did you show up in those spaces, how did you perform. So good on you for doing that work and doing that reflection, because it is hard for folks. And especially like we could say for men, like society doesn't set men up to being the folks to be like, hey, sit with your feelings, hey, stop and reflect on how we're showing up, because there's like what's typically being set out as a guideline for men to perform and uphold in terms of roles and responsibilities. And we're not all these perfect men folk because we're all human and we all go through this regardless of our sex.
The patriarchy hurts men and women.
Yeah.
We have good girl conditioning, and then there's things for men too.
Yeah, there's the show no weakness, so have no emotion.
Yeah.
And going through hard times, if you live and operate that way, you're really just choking down a lot of the emotional aspect of life, which you'll find if you actually sit in those feelings, you're going to find those answers, you're going to find those solutions and be able to move through and move on to the next thing. And it sounds like in your story, like you kind of went to that space because you had to reflect on, how you were behaving and how you were communicating with folks in your life at that time and amongst everything that had been happening to you. So.
Yeah, I think most individuals want to be liked as well too, and
yeah,
it's not happening. That's a good way to look inward.
It's a part of our human design, right? Like we are built to be in community, to be social, to have love. Like these are all just part of what we crave as humans in our design. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
So if I had to ask you, what would be one thing that you wish that our listeners knew about your business, if you could only pick one thing?
Oh, that's a good question. What would you say?
I would say, that's a good question.
I would say like, you're stumping me, Sean.
Yeah.
No, it's well, that an elopement can be what you want it to be. That it's really about creating a day that feels like it's meant for the two people to be in that space, that everything feels right, that everything is for them and intended for them.
Create your own traditions.
And that you could create your own traditions in that way.
Yeah. Create your own traditions, like lip syncing together, your everyday things that you do as a couple, and highlighting that as a part of your day and your story. Just like make your own traditions that are meaningful and represent you as a couple. Yeah.
We're here to be dreamers and creators for our couples and help them come to a realization of how would this perfect elopement go, and then help guide them through the process so they can kind of expand and dream upon maybe some preconceptions that they have about eloping, from what it is in their minds to where it could be. And usually too, like, folks will look at our galleries, look at our past work, our past clients, and that helps build and dream and inspire the things that they like to do.
Very well said. Well, that was an amazing conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know there'll definitely be a lot of others listening to the show who enjoyed that as well. And certainly some people who are curious, who are interested, who maybe want to reach out and learn a little bit more. And so for those who do, what would be one of the best ways that they can go ahead and reach you?
So you can go to our website, www.theorganicmoment.com, and head to our contact page and fill out our form. That's the fastest way to get in touch with us. And then you could also check out our Instagram and Pinterest to check out more of our vibe and TikTok for inspiration.
And that's all at The Organic Moment.
Yeah, it's all on our website. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. That was great conversation. Great to get to know you a little bit more and be able to share your experiences, who you are, your tastes, your interests, and your awesome business. Another great neighbor here in our local community. Thanks a lot and wish you all the best out there.
Thank you for having us, Sean.
Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwithjeffandsean.com. That's gnpwithjeffandsean.com or call 705-413-3775.